Dear learners, I welcome you in this video where you will learn about issues related to employment, growth, informalization and other related issues. After this session, you will be able to understand basic concepts related to employment such as economic activity, worker, workforce and unemployment. You will also be able to understand the nature of participation of men and women in various economic activities in various sectors. You will be able to know the nature and extent of unemployment in our country, and you will be able to assess the initiatives taken by the government in generating employment opportunities in various sectors and regions. We have different people, those who are engaged in different activities. One may work in the farm for earning the livelihood, or you may go to the offices and work at a workplace. There are also people, those who are working in some shops. It may be a coffee shop or a bakery shop, or you may also find some vendors, those who are selling fruits and vegetables near the roadside. Some own different shops or may be working in those shops as the workers. We have different professions where people are engaged in, they are working. They may be working as a policeman, they may be working as a postman or maybe a pizza delivery guy. Similarly, we have factories. So people either own these factories or large number of workers are working in these factories. Now, there are also people, those who are working from their home or working at their home, which not only include the traditional work like weaving, lace making and variety of handicrafts, but also include modern jobs like programming work in the IT industry. In these activities, you need not visit any formal place for working, rather you are working from your home. Now, one question which might comes to our mind is why these people are engaged in different type of activities. If you think about it, maybe the answer is to earn the income or earning a livelihood. So when a person is working in any of the profession, in any of the factories or in any of the occupation, the main purpose is to earn income so that they will earn a living from that specific occupation. So let us now try to understand why we actually work or what satisfaction we get from work. Being employed in work gives us a sense of self-worth and it enables us to relate ourselves meaningfully with others. Every working person is actively contributing to national income and hence the development of the country by engaging in various economic activities. Now, studying about the working people gives us insights into the quality and nature of employment in a country. So, if you want to understand the status of the employment in the country, it is very important to understand how the working people work in the country, in which sector they work and what is their current status. It also helps in understanding and planning our human resources as a country, and it helps us to analyze the contribution made by different industries and sectors towards national income or GDP of the nation. Now let us try to understand who are the workers. All those who are engaged in economic activities in whatever capacity, high or low, are workers. Even if some of them are temporarily abstained from work due to illness, injury or other physical disability, or due to bad weather, some festivals, social or religious functions, they are also known as workers. Workers also include all those who help the main workers in these activities, and those who are self-employed, they are also known as workers. For example, if a particular person is having a shop at the roadside and selling the vegetables, that will also be counted as workers in our country. Now, if we talk about the unemployment or employment situation in our country, the nature of employment in India is multifaceted. You will find variety of workers in our country, those who are working for earning their livelihood. Some are employed throughout the year, whereas you will also find some workers, those who are employed for only few months in a year. We also have many workers, those who do not get fair wages for their work, or in some rural areas you will find many women are working in the farms, those who are not even getting any wages or any grains for their work, but still they are working in those farms. Now, during 2011 and 12, if you want to understand the composition of the workforce, let us try to understand that. India had a strong workforce of about 473 million. And when we talk about the rural workers, it constituted about 3/4 of this 473 million. 70% of the workers were men and rest 30% were women, and this number includes the child laborers in respective sexes. Women workers account for 1/3 of the rural workforce, whereas in the urban areas they were just 1/5 of the workforce. And we will also try to understand the reason why in the rural areas more women is working, whereas in the urban areas their contribution to the workforce is less. Worker population ratio is one important indicator which is used for analyzing the employment situation in the country. And if you have to calculate the worker population ratio, this you can do it by dividing the total number of workers in India by the population in India and multiplying it by 100. So let us try to understand the worker population ratio in our country. So let us take the data of 2017 and 18, where 34.7% people are the workers, or we can say out of 100, 34.7% or approximately 35% are the worker, those who are working in some occupation or in some organization. If you see the rural and urban composition of the workers, you will find in rural areas 35% out of 100 are working, whereas in urban areas 33.9 or approximately 34% are working. And if you compare it with the rural areas, this number is less. Talking about the composition of men and women, if you see the gender categorization, in total 52% men are working, or we can say 52 out of 100 men are working, whereas for women it is only 16% or 16.5%. In the rural areas you will find 17.5 women out of 100 are working, whereas in the urban areas only 14.2 women are working. Why are women in general and urban women in particular not working? Let us try to understand the reasons. The first reason is that it is very common to find that where men are able to earn high income, families discourage female members from taking up jobs, whether it is the rural area or urban area. If they have some inheritance property, good amount of wealth with them, they generally do not allow their women to work in the industries or in different occupations, and same is the case with urban areas. Another reason is many household activities done by women are not recognized as productive work. For example, if a woman is cooking a food in a house, that will not be considered as economic activity because we are not paying any money for that activity. Whereas if the same woman works in a restaurant and cook a food, then it will be counted as the economic activity, and that work will be considered as the productive work and will be counted in the GDP of the nation. Because of that reason, the number of women, those who are counted as the workforce, are less. The third reason is working women at family farms who are not paid for such work are also not included in the definition of workers, which is a narrow definition of the workforce. According to a conservative estimate by McKinsey and Company, if the hours of unpaid labor done by women worldwide were paid at a minimum wage, it would be worth at least $10 trillion, which is more than the GDP of few countries. And even if you talk about our country, it is more than the triple of the GDP of our nation. See how much worth that unpaid labor is having. So do you think that the work of women shall also be counted in the GDP? So you can think about it. Now let us try to understand the different varieties of workers, those who are available in our country. So it may be self-employed workers or some hired workers. And to understand that, let us take three workers from the construction industry. One, we have a cement shop owner who is the owner of a cement shop. Second is a civil engineer of a construction company who is working in that organization, who is constructing a building. And third is our construction workers. So we have taken three examples, three different type of workers, and let us try to understand their status in that enterprise. So when we talk about a cement shop owner, workers who own and operate an enterprise to earn their livelihood are known as self-employed. So a cement shop owner is a self-employed person, and 52% workforce are the self-employed workers. When we talk about the construction worker, the construction workers are also known as casual wage laborers, and they account for about 25% of the India's workforce. Casual wage laborers generally work on daily wages. The third category is of a civil engineer of a construction company. So when a worker is engaged by someone or an enterprise and paid his or her wages on a regular basis, they are known as regular salaried employees. And worker like the civil engineer working in the construction company account for 23% of India's workforce. Now let us try to understand the distribution of employment by gender. So we have just studied that 52% people are self-employed, or 52% workforce are self-employed, 23% are regular salaried employed, and 25% are casual wage laborers. But if you see the male workers, there you will find 52% population or workforce is self-employed, 24% male workers are casual wage laborers, and 24% are regular salaried employees. When we talk about female workers, there also 52% workers are self-employed, whereas 21% are salaried class and 27% are casual wage laborers, which you will generally find in the rural areas. If you see the distribution of employment by region in urban areas and rural areas, let us try to understand the composition. You will find for the self-employed in the urban areas, it is only 38%, whereas the casual wage laborers are 15% and regular salaried employees are 38%. If you see the distribution of employment by region, you will find 38% people are self-employed, 47% people are regular salaried employees, and 15% workers are casual wage laborers. Whereas in the rural workers, you will find 58% are self-employed, those who are working on farms or those who own the farms. Then 13% are regular salaried employees, because in the rural areas you will not find many opportunities, many factories or offices where you can go and work on salary basis, and 29% workforce are casual wage laborers. Now we have understood that there are three different types of employees. It can be self-employed, it can be regular salaried employees, or it can be casual wage laborers. So let us categorize these workers into these three categories. So the first category is owner of a saloon, and because he is the owner of the saloon, he is the owner of the enterprise, he will be categorized into the self-employed. Worker in a rice mill who is paid on daily basis but employed regularly, he is a regular salaried employed because he is not the owner, but he is getting the job on a regular basis. That is the reason he is the regular salaried employee. Third is the cashier in State Bank of India or any other bank. Again, he will be categorized as a regular salaried employee because he is also getting a salary on a monthly basis and he is working in that specific bank. Typist working in a state government office on a daily wage basis but paid monthly. Now that typist will be categorized into casual wage laborers because that person is working on a daily wage rate. Next is a handloom weaver. A person who is involved in that activity is known as self-employed because he is the owner of that enterprise. Loading workers in wholesale vegetable shop. So can you think of where we will put this person? So he will be the casual wage laborer who is working on a wage basis. Owner of a cold drink shop which sells Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Again, that person will be counted as self-employed because he is generating his employment and he is the owner of the enterprise. Nurse in a private hospital who gets monthly salary and has been working regularly for the past 5 years. So again, that nurse will be a regular salaried employee. So we have understood the three major categories of workers: self-employed, regular salaried employees and casual wage laborers. Now let us try to understand what are the different industrial divisions in our country or how we divide the economic activities into different industrial divisions. For this, we have agriculture as one sector, then we have mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas and water supply, construction, trade, transport and storage, and services. So these are the 8 different industrial divisions which are categorized into primary sector, secondary sector and service sector. So when we talk about agriculture, it is the part of primary sector. Mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas and water supply and construction will form the secondary sector, and services like trade, transport and storage and other services will come in the tertiary sector or service sector. Let us now understand the distribution of workforce by the industry, and you will see primary sector or agriculture sector, there 44.6% workforce is engaged. That means 44.6% or 45% out of 100 are engaged in the primary sector, whereas for secondary sector or industrial sector it is 24.4% and for service sector it is 31%. If you see this categorization on the basis of their residence, say rural area and urban areas, you will find in rural areas approximately 60% are working in the primary sector, and the reason is but obvious because most of the primary sector activities are there in the rural sector. When we talk about the urban area, you will find only 6.6% workforce is engaged. In the secondary sector, you will find 20.4% workforce is working in the rural areas, whereas for the urban areas it is 34.3% because more opportunities are available in the urban areas when we talk about the secondary sector. Similarly, for the service sector, you will find in the rural areas only 19.8% people or workforce are working, whereas in the urban areas 59.1%. If you go gender wise, you will find 40.7% male are working in primary sector, 26.5% in secondary sector, whereas 32.8% in service sector. When it comes to female, 57.1% females are working in primary sector, 17.7% in secondary sector and 25.2% in tertiary sector or service sector. So the conclusion is there we have more female, especially those who are working in the primary sector, those who are working in an informal sector maybe. Now let us try to understand the trends in employment pattern and we have data of different decades starting from 1972 till 2017 and 18, and you will find the share of primary sector in employment is reducing. It was 74.3% in 1972-73, but now only 44.6% workforce is engaged in primary sector. Whereas when we talk about secondary sector and service sector, it is having a growth from 10.9% to 24.4% in secondary sector, whereas from 14.8% to 31% in service sector. If we talk about the status of workers, earlier it used to be 61.4% people, those who were self-employed. Now the number has came down to 52.2%. For regular salaried employee, you will find from 15.4% to 22.8%, and for casual wage laborers from 23.2% to 25% workforce, which is now engaged in casual wage laborers. Now let us talk about informalization of Indian workforce. So you will see that only 6% people are working in formal sector, whereas the remaining 94% people are working in informal sector. When we talk about formal sector, 24 million male workers are engaged in formal sector, whereas only 6 million females are working in the formal sector. But when we talk about informal sector, 310 million male workers are there, and when we talk about female workers, they are 133 million. So you can see more workforce is engaged in informal sector, which is approximately around 94%. Now, what do we mean by informal sector and formal sector? Let us try to understand. Formal sector is that sector where either the organization is the government enterprise or an organization, or the private enterprise where more than 10 workers are working. Whereas for informal sectors, all other entities apart from those which we have just discussed will be the part of informal sector. In the early 1980s, most of the mills, they stopped hiring new workers and there were layoffs. As a result, large number of employees lost their job, those who were doing their jobs as a permanent employees or non-permanent employees. As a result, the women has to take a charge. Maybe they have to also work in some informal sectors for earning a livelihood for their family. And you will see there is a change in the balance of power in a house, because now woman is working, whereas the men in the family is doing the household works. So balance of power is changing in the families. Now let us try to understand the issues related to informalization in our country. Workers and enterprises in the informal sector do not get regular incomes. So when we talk about formal sectors, maybe you are getting a regular income in your bank accounts every month, but those who are working in informal sector, there the problem of regular income is there. Maybe they are not getting that regular income. They do not have any protection or regulation from the government, which is otherwise there with the formal sector. Maybe some social security schemes are also available, which is not available for the workers, those who are working in informal sector. Workers are dismissed without any compensation, or even if they are giving any compensation, that amount is very low. So that is again one problem with the informalization of the Indian workforce. The technology used in the informal sector enterprises is outdated, and they also do not maintain any accounts like how many workers they are employing or how much salaries they are giving. So that is one major problem with the informalization of Indian workforce. Workers of this sector live in slums and are squatters. Now let us try to understand the situation of unemployment in our country. And the first question is, who is an unemployed person, or to whom we will call that person is unemployed. You must have seen several people, those who are finding the jobs in the newspapers. You must have also seen some people, those who are standing at some popular areas where they are looking for the person, those who can provide them the job for even a single day or for a few days or for a few hours. You might have also seen some people, those who are asking their friends, family members and relatives for a job. And there are also people, those who are going to the employment exchanges so that they will get some opportunity for work. And all these people are unemployed. So those who are willing to work but they are not getting the job are the unemployed person in our country. National Sample Survey Office defines unemployment as a situation in which all those who, owing to lack of work, are not working but either seek work through employment exchanges, intermediaries, friends or relatives, or by making applications to prospective employers or express their willingness or availability for work under the prevailing condition of work and remunerations. There are different sources of data from which you will be able to understand the unemployment situation in our country. So it can be the reports of Census of India, NSSO reports of employment and unemployment situation, and annual reports of periodic labor force survey and Directorate General of Employment and training data of registration with employment exchanges. Let us now try to understand the different types of unemployment. So unemployment we have just studied is the first form of unemployment, which is known as open unemployment. It is the situation where a person is willing to work, is educated, but is unable to get a job and work. The second kind of unemployment is disguised unemployment. It is also known as hidden unemployment, and this refers to a situation where labor that is employed in a job is not actually utilized for the production of goods and services, or in other words, we can say such employment does not contribute to the output of an economy. Let us take one example to understand disguised unemployment. Suppose a farmer has 4 acres of land and he actually needs only 2 workers and himself to carry out various operations on his farm in a year. But if he employs 5 workers and his family members such as his wife and children, this situation is known as disguised unemployment. The third type of unemployment is seasonal unemployment. When there is no work to do on farms, people go to urban areas and look for jobs. So this kind of unemployment is known as seasonal unemployment, and this is also a common form of unemployment prevailing in our country. There are different measures taken by the government to provide employment opportunities, which can be categorized into direct efforts and indirect efforts. Government-owned enterprises or companies provide employment directly to workers, and this kind of unemployment comes under the direct efforts of the government. The second category is indirect efforts of the government, in which when output of government enterprises increases, production opportunities in private organization dealing with these government enterprises also expands, and this creates employment. Now there are certain schemes which are launched by the government to promote or to increase the employment opportunities in our country. The first scheme is Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005, under which it promises 100 days of guaranteed wage employment to all rural households who volunteer to do unskilled manual work. There are other schemes as well, and some of these are Rural Employment Generation Program, Prime Minister's Rozgar Yojana, Swर्ण Jayanti Shahri Rozgar Yojana, Swर्ण Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, National Food for Work Program, which is popularly known as NFWP, and Sampoorn Gramin Rozgar Yojana, Jawahar Gram Samriddhi Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, which is also known as Ajivika, and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. In this video, we have understood about the basic concepts related to employment, such as economic activity, worker, workforce, and unemployment. We have also understood the participation of men and women in various economic activities in our country, and we have also understood the nature and extent of unemployment. We have also touched few points related to the initiatives taken by the government in generating employment opportunities in various sectors and regions. Thank you so much for watching this video.